The following is fan commentary. All stills and sprites applied under fair use. I own nothing but my opinions and the voice to deliver them. Castlevania is property of Konami. Please support the official release. Moonlight makes Castle Carmilla seem less threatening, more peaceful. And this is the first time I see humans employed here. In spite of Morana calling them pigs with shoes, maybe this was a compromise with Lenore the diplomat. A handful of edit cuts in, and this is the last shot before the attack begins. We're jumping into the deep end right off the bat, and it shows just how much more perceptive Carmilla is. A wave of hundreds slams into the depleted forces defending the castle. Carmilla's overreach has left herself largely unguarded. Like when a certain mustache man sent all his reserve troops to invade Russia, also in the winter months. I might never unsee that parallel. And what does it say when the human archers and reanimated corpses get in more hits reliably than the actual Styrian army? Are we sure that Isaac is actually human? How has he kept up with vampires like this when we never see him training? Alright, fine, he's human. He just works well with his night creatures. More of the Styrian army being useless when we see them in continuous motion one time. Isaac's flying bodyguard mows through them. And they sit in shock at his entrance for how many seconds? Exactly 10. I timed it. Then Isaac snaps his fingers, and they're torn apart where they still sit. As the fight reaches Carmilla, she makes one impressive display of strength, but how long can she keep up that output? When is it ever a good time to take on an entire army wearing heels? Don't they slow you down? Oh, who are we kidding? Look at her ambitions so far. We have seen these two before. This fight has a lot of reused character models, as Lenore flees above them in a cloud of bats like a certain other video game vamp. Running to her Hector all alone and still having to raise her dress while she runs. Don't vampires glide? Of course, Hector traps her because we saw him preparing something at the beginning of his first episode. But once it's been sprung, doesn't she just look spellbinding in that blue light? Not sorry. How fitting her eyes are closed here, as she ignored all those warnings about him. He has just enough time to send one last set of instructions to Saint Germain, warning him about Varney, before leaving with, and now if you'll excuse me, I have to go get killed now. By Isaac's hand, and here is Isaac. But shock of shocks, Isaac is not there to revenge himself or Dracula upon Hector. Hector points out the command ring and demands that the one who commands the ring be left unharmed, severing his ring finger, which I'm not showing. He supplies Isaac with his means of escape. Baal Initium commands this metal pentagram made from broken hammers. Place your intent upon it, say the words, and the little metal spheres laid out in episode 2 will deliver a way to get where you're going, either out of the castle or to the top of the towers. Even though Hector has had other people making his decisions for him and driving his narrative every other season we see him in, he's taken just about all of the agency tonight. No wonder Lenore is in shock. But she has at least enough fight in her to let out one profane curse. Otherwise, alone in the workshop, Hector is so taken aback by survival. He looks positively winded. No idea what to do next. Ball initium! And then this happens. And that happens. And it's surprisingly not messy. The tunnel of light becomes a cage for Carmilla. She keeps doing wall jumps until she'll get a chance to swing her sword through something. Remember the elevator of blood from The Shining? Now there's the flowing staircase. Carmilla breaks down internally in more ways than one as her eyes fill with blood following the slaying of many more night creatures than we actually see. Okay, I admit I've given grief over the animation details, but the reflections added in post are above and beyond anything they need to be. And whenever we see the outside shot, there's always snow falling with consistency. These are nice touches. Unnecessary, but welcome. Carmilla tries throwing Hector under the bus to spare herself Isaac wrath, and when that fails, she tries throwing shade. But as Isaac says, I would always fear you. You cannot be trusted. I would always fear you and your ambitions. And he's not the only one. So they fight, and fight, and fight, and fight. Earlier we saw one Styrian soldier glow red like he was about to be transformed when he was stabbed, but Carmilla takes it in the leg and nothing? Also, can vampires get winded? This one wouldn't. Ah, the old anime tear of blood. She's really coming apart at the seams. This is the end, delivered in a suicidal blast. And yes, we can confirm Isaac has plot armor. The devil-type innocent devil shields him, and a completely unscathed Isaac walks in on Hector alone. Lenore is in the basement to take cover. I'm really disappointed on how her bind on him was squandered these past 3 episodes. In Season 2, there was a scene where Hector wonders if Isaac was telling a joke. Now, when Hector laments a lost opportunity to play the pipe organ, it's treated a little mirthfully. In a reflection of the lime scene from Isaac's quest in Season 3, this time it's Isaac juicing the lime and offering the water. Discussing desire, agency, and the future establishes a theme for this season, the value of letting go and moving on to build a better tomorrow. And how well did Dracula really do, even before losing his wife? Part of growing up is outgrowing the hero worship of youth. The way the rulers trap the ruled is to convince them that there is no future, only the now in an endless cycle. It's an exchange, but it's mostly Hector making the rare observation and reaction to Isaac's musings and gathered wisdom. Honestly, it seems there's just a little more for Hector to do, staying with Lenore as the resident bookworm. But Isaac's run seems satisfied here. Dmitry Maximov, property of Capcom, play more Darkstalkers. If you liked what you saw here, please tell me the highlights in the comments. This is still pretty new to me, so I'd like constructive criticism. Anything I can do better, what you want to see more of, what you think I might do next, or maybe post it in your share post when you share this on social media, if that strikes your fancy. Always like, subscribe. The algorithm's getting really weird lately. But we'll see you again.